very talented MC, and I like his name already because the show is called Chillin'. So I present to you Mr. P. Chill, joining me right now. What's going on, man?
Hey, man, it's great to talk.
Chatting with you. Thank you for being on the show on a few days' notice, man. Appreciate it.
Hey, thanks for having me. I'm glad I was able to work out. So,
So, I did play the songs that you sent me, "Break the Chains" and
oh, word.
When Words Won't Do." I definitely dig the records, man.
Thank you.
you definitely a lot different from a lot of artists. Code. You're the first I know of from Sacramento. So
Oh, okay.
I know, I mean, I listen to people from L.A., from Compton,
hmm
to Vought. I've never
Right, right.
and in Compton, I think I've already mentioned it already, but you're the first dude I know, indie, mainstream or whatever, from Sacramento. I mean, when I think of Sacramento, I think of the Sacramento Kings. You know,
Oh, yeah.
yeah, Chris Webber, Diva,
Mm-hmm.
Doug Christie.
Back when we had a team then too. Man, the team that was back in those days.
Yeah, so and I'm a Kentucky basketball fan. You got one of the best big men in the game in DeMarcus Cousins, who has so much potential. If he can just keep his head on, And look, I've seen him play in Kentucky. He's talented, but he can be a knucklehead. He can bump heads with coaches.
Right, right.
He bumped heads with Coach Cal despite they were winning games. And then he bumped heads with George Call. I think Call deserved to be fired because you don't put your franchise player that's like that. I'm gonna just say that.
Right.
So
hmm
he had to go. Uh, he had and Call hasn't really done anything since he was with the Seattle Sonics. With
right,
Sean Kemp and Gary Payton. That was the last time he was at an NBA Finals. Of course, he lost
right.
to that Michael Jordan fellow, but I'm just saying. Um, but let's get to you. Uh, I gotta ask you about the stage name, Mr. P. Chill.
Yes,
Where
sir.
where did that name came from?
All right. So I first started rhyming, my given name is Bill. That's my mom's first name. It's Bill. But my friends would see they would call me Chill Bill. This is back in the late '80s, and they go, "Oh, Chill Bill," blah blah blah. So I adopted that as a rhyming name. But I got a pair of glasses, and my buddy's like, "Man, you look like a professor, man. Yep, that Chill Bill stuff, Professor Chill." I'm like, "Okay." It was during the days of into hip hop, the '90s. We're speaking a lot of heavy knowledge. That made sense to me, especially based on what I was rhyming about and whatnot. And then as I got older, I kind of shortened it down just to P. And then I took a hiatus in the late '90s. Stepped away from music for about a year or so. I was still doing music. I just wasn't out actually performing and whatnot. And when I came back to it, I put the Mister in front of it. It's kind of like a sign of like, okay, I'm grown up now. This is from here on. It's gonna be mature music. It's gonna be, it's gonna be a different level.
So I'm scrolling down your Facebook page section, and you have been rapping for 2 decades.
Yes,
Um,
sir.
what do you think is the key to your longevity that makes you want to keep doing this thing?
I fell in love with the art form of hip hop music. I fell in love with the political side of it, and the fact that when you have a voice in this, you have a lot of opportunities to lead people in the proper direction, or at least what you feel is the proper direction into. And the longer I've been at it, the more I feel like there's more I have to say. I never got to that point in it where I was like, well, I've said what I need to say. Now I can do something else. Like I always feel like there's something I need to say. And I love what I'm doing so much. Like they say, oh, it's a young people. When you get there's like an age limit to hip hop. Like what's age limit? Like no, there's no age limit to hip hop. There's anyone that says that doesn't know what they're talking about, in my opinion.
Man, I mean, props to you, man. Some people fail to make it through it one year, and maybe they gave up, or maybe they feel they didn't have what it took. You lasted 20 plus years. Anyone who
Yeah, this will be my 25th year. It was the 25th anniversary of my first single dropping in '92 will be this coming summer in 2017.
wow, and you know that was
Yeah.
that was probably back then, you know, Tupac early years,
Mhm.
and you know, and when he was starting to blow up, you know, West Coast, it feels like has come a long way musically. I mean, you
Mhm.
had Tupac, you had the NWA, you had Death Row, and then you go on to artists like Game and Kendrick. I mean, also
Mhm.
I can't forget about Short,
Right.
E4, the Yuck and the Loonies. Um,
Mhm.
I mean, you've been an artist that's been there and pretty much witnessed it all up close, you know, through the radio stations and the music channels and things like that. You know, what how do you feel about West Coast hip hop back then when you got started compared to what it is right now?
I feel like back then, and this is in no way, shape, or form meant to diss anybody doing this right now, but back then I feel like there was more creativity to it. I feel like it's almost like, at least with all hip hop, West Coast and East Coast, and a lot of different regions, it's almost like a lot of people have a formula to it now. Like, okay, you do this, this, and this, and then you've got your song. This is how you break through about this or making. Back then, there wasn't a mold for people to go through, so there's a lot more creativity. And I think that's why certain artists, like from the West Coast, Kendrick Lamar, is standing out so much right now with his lyricism and his creativity, because he is doing just that. He's creative. He's doing something I feel has been kind of forgotten about by a lot of artists. People are afraid to try something different and step out of the box, you know.
I mean, that is true. You know, I'm all for substance at this point in my life.
Hmm.
I'm 32 years old. Like
Okay.
I've been through. As a fan of hip hop in general, I will confess I listen to the Love and Party and the club songs and things like that. And I go to the club if I hear a party song, I'm gonna jam to it. But now I'm getting older and wiser and whatnot, and I lean towards the conscious side. Like I lean
Yep.
towards, I got like Kendrick. He has some conscious to him, but he's still lyrically dope. I lean towards J. Cole. I lean
Yeah, that
towards,
guy is so slept on by so many people, and
yeah,
it's like, no, that dude's lyricism is amazing.
yeah, and you know the dude is talk about a model of consistency. His previous album he did. I mean, yeah, he went with a surprise album, wow, but he had no features on it. It was just all him, and it was still a successful album. People wanted that CD, and he's dope. I feel like those type of artists, you know, that gives me some hope for hip hop. But then there's the mumble rap. There's the turn
I
up.
can't.
There's
Oh
the
my god,
getting
that stuff.
the getting lit. You know.
Hmm.
Now, look, as long as I can understand that coming out of your, I mean, whether you rap with your weird voice or your auto tune voice, that's fine. But when you just settle
Right.
for mumbleness and people actually digs it, that's when I have a problem, man. That's when I
Hmm.
that's when I cut this off. Let me just listen to something else. I think that's what hip hop will start to turn into, majority of it anyway. And that's why I lean towards the local artists. I live in Kentucky. There's a lot of talented local artists out there. And now I'm leaning towards
Hmm.
people like you on the indie level too. You
Yeah,
know.
there's a lot of really, really, really amazing independent hip hop that's going on right now that you're not going to hear on the radio, you're not going to hear on the satellite radio or anything like that. You're just going to have to find it. You have to get involved with, going out and seeing some of the artists in your town and learning about these cats. Like there's people out there that I've been blessed to perform with, like Sid Francis, for instance. The man's people call him the emo rapper. He talks a lot about his personal life and and things he's been through like that. But you can listen to his whole record, and I guarantee anyone I know is going to find one song that he's going to be like, yeah, this song's for you, because it sounds so much like it was written for him, you know? And there's so many artists out there doing that right now. Brother Rob, that's another really, incredible independent artists that I'm up on right now. That's just the messages and the political messaging is especially resonates with me with my personal beliefs on things.
It seems like to me that indie artists have more success than mainstream artists, mostly because of the freedom of an artist. They can do the music the way that they want to without having a middleman or the A&Rs and breathing down your necks and things like that. What do you like about independent artists that makes that you get a chance to the music the way you want to without any interferences whatsoever?
I can do what I want. I don't have to say, all right, I'm making a record. Now I got to make a radio song. Otherwise, no one's going to listen to my record. I've got to make songs for these people here because they want to love songs. The guys over here want to party jam. It's like, no, I can make music that have like the legions and legions of fans. Like, say, for instance, a mainstream success. I just want to. I have a strong fan base. And I have a good, strong core fan base. And they enjoy what I'm doing for what I do it for. So as an independent artist, that's the best of being it. I can just do what I feel is right, and the people who connect to music are connecting to my reasons.
So, being that you are a veteran at this point of your career, what would your
Mm-hmm.
advice be to the aspiring hip hop artists out there that really wants to make this into a career and try to have uh, the longevity that you have had? What would your advice be to those that really want to take this hip hop craft seriously?
My advice is to learn as much about not just how to hone your craft and become a good artist, but learn as absolutely as much about the business side of it as you can. There's to make a living doing this, you don't have to be a commercial success to make a living doing this. What you've got to do is be aware of where the money's coming in from. And a lot of people aren't aware of that. It's like sign up for BMI, one of the performing arts organizations. It's worth it because basically you're going to get money every time you perform a show, as long as you report your set list. Anytime you do get on the radio, internet radio, or anything like that, it's going to generate some income for you. Be aware of just to get as much information about the law of music as you can, whether it's reading books, taking a course at the college, what have you. Is that there's so many artists out there so talented. They've got the craft. They feel like they're fighting an uphill battle. They don't know some of the things they could be doing just to make things easier for themselves from the business aspect of it.
That's definitely some excellent advice, and you, you know, well, for hip hop, it's matter. One of the things is you gotta have confidence. You gotta believe in
Mm-hmm.
yourself, especially considering how hip hop can come across as competitive at times. Like everyone wants to
Mm-hmm.
show the best or the punchlines and things like that. I mean, if you don't believe in yourself, then how people are gonna believe in you and
Exactly.
what you're trying to put out? And people tend to see a trend that goes on, and they want to follow that trend while making a trend of their own. And
Mm-hmm.
I guess that's what most of hip hop has come to, is that people look at a trend and they go with that wave. I mean, maybe it's a knock on artists in particular, but I feel like if you don't stand out, then people are just gonna look at you as a copycat. You know.
Mm-hmm.
So it's,
Absolutely.
I
You
guess
got to create your own lane. Gotta, it sounds so weird because when you start off, every young artist, it seems like, and myself included, it's like you're trying to get in these certain lanes that they're moving here, like as far as where the music's going. And if you finally get to the point where you're like, no, I'm going to do this. This is what I do. This is what what makes me happy as an artist. I'm over here. Let everyone else fight that race. I'm going to go over here and just do my own thing. And then once you get to that point, that's where I think as an independent artist, you can really find your sound, find your voice, find the way you're going to reach your fans.
Well said, man. Well said. So, do you have any upcoming shows, performances that you people need to check out?
Yeah, I've got a couple shows coming up next month. Usually during the summer. I just came off of a 4-week tour in August. I went out and did about half the U.S. I got shows in Sacramento next month. The 9th, I'll be at the Blue Lamp on November 9th, and then November 12th, I'll be at it's called On the Y in Sacramento. During the holidays, usually I kind of go out a little bit with family and whatnot. It's kind of a deal I have going with my wife. It's like, look, 10 months out of the year, I'm going to be on the go. At a given which be gone. But we're just sent home, so it's a pretty good arrangement me and her have. So, but yeah, I have that. I have shows coming up, and then in January I'm gonna start heading back out on the road again.
That's dope, man. Absolutely. For people to stream, purchase it, download it, and your other social media links, why don't you let people know where they can check you out social media wise, and where can people purchase your music?
Yeah, no doubt. The easiest place people can purchase the music digitally is iTunes. My entire catalog is on iTunes. On digitally, just have it for sale. As far as streaming, Spotify is a real good place. I people with Spotify. A few of my albums are also on Pandora as well, so you can find it on there. Social medias, Facebook is just at or Facebook/MRP Chill. Instagram is also MRP Chill. On Twitter, I am MRP Chill, then 916. That's the area code in Sacramento. And my YouTube channel is also MRP Chill 916.
Check this man out, man, especially if you're in the West Coast, a veteran, 25 plus years and counting, and just continues to do his thing and representing hip hop in the West Coast independently, I might add. Shout out to the indie folks out there. But it was an honor, man, to have you on, and thank you for taking the time. And again, thank you for being on a few days' notice, and continued
Of course.
success. And thank you for your time, man.
Hey, thanks for having me on. I really appreciate you. Definitely the honor's all mine. And please stay in touch, man. I'd love to chat it up to you again sometime, man.
Absolutely, man. You have a good night. Have a great weekend.
For sure. You do the same, my man.
All right, bye-bye.
Peace.